If I told you there's a 1-minute test you can do in your living room, no equipment, no trainer, that can predict how long you'll live, would you try it? Most seniors have never heard of it, but researchers say it's one of the clearest windows into your future health, and the clock might already be ticking. Dr. Harper, when you first told me about this test off air, I thought, come on, it can't be that simple. And then you had me try it. I'll be honest with our listeners, I didn't do as well as I thought I would.
You're not alone, Susan. That's the surprising part. Most people think, I walk every day, I'm fine. But the leg strength test reveals more than just muscle. It's a snapshot of balance, coordination, and the integrity of your nervous system. And it matters because all three declined long before you feel old.
And the kicker is, you can't fake it. You can't cheat your way through this test, right?
Exactly. In fact, in a 2022 study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, researchers followed more than 1,700 adults aged 51 to 75 for a decade. They found that those who failed this simple balance and leg strength test had nearly double the risk of dying from any cause in the next 10 years, regardless of age, gender, or even whether they exercised regularly.
So this isn't about whether you're an athlete or not. It's about something deeper your body is trying to tell you.
Yes. Think of your legs as your body's foundation. Weak legs mean your entire system, muscles, bones, nerves, is under strain. And here's the part most people miss. Loss of leg strength isn't just about mobility. It's directly tied to heart health, brain health, and your ability to recover from illness or injury.
Dr. Harper, can we back up for a moment? I think a lot of listeners, maybe even their adult children, are picturing this wrong. Could you paint the picture of exactly what this test is?
Sure, it's called the 1-minute sit-to-stand test. You sit in a sturdy chair, feet flat, arms crossed over your chest. You have exactly 60 seconds to stand up and sit down as many times as you can without using your arms. Sounds easy, but it's not. The average healthy senior should be able to do at least 12 to 15 reps. If you're under that range, it's an early warning sign, sometimes years before bigger problems appear.
When I did it, I thought, oh, this will be quick. By rep number 8, my thighs were on fire, and I kept glancing at the clock thinking, surely it's been a minute already.
That's a normal reaction, but here's where it gets serious. Low performance on this test is often linked to something called sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. And sarcopenia is now recognized by the World Health Organization as a major health risk factor right alongside obesity and diabetes.
Wait, so it's not just that weak legs make you more likely to fall, it's that they actually shorten your life?
Yes. Falls are the obvious risk, hip fractures, hospitalizations, all that, but the hidden danger is that weak muscles can't pump blood back to the heart, your metabolism slows, and even your immune system takes a hit. A 2018 meta-analysis in Age and Aging showed seniors with stronger leg muscles had significantly lower rates of heart disease, dementia, and even certain cancers.
That's sobering. And I know some of our listeners are already thinking, well, I'm too old to build that back up. Is that true?
Not at all. That's one of the biggest myths. We've seen people in their 80s double their leg strength in just 3 months with the right exercises. The body is incredibly adaptable, even late in life. The key is starting now, because every year you wait, you lose muscle faster.
So if someone takes this test today and doesn't like their score, it's not a death sentence. It's more like a wake-up call.
Exactly. Think of it as your dashboard warning light. You wouldn't ignore that in your car. You'd pull over and check it. This test is your body's way of saying, we need to work on this before it becomes a bigger problem.
I love that analogy. And I love that it's something you can do at home without needing a doctor's appointment first. But now you've got me curious. You mentioned earlier that this test reveals more than just leg strength. What did you mean?
Well, here's the twist. The speed and control of your sit-to-stand movement are also closely linked to something called proprioception, your body's ability to sense where you are in space. And declining proprioception is one of the earliest signs of neurological aging, even before memory loss.
So you're saying this 1-minute test could pick up on brain changes before we notice them?
In some cases, yes. And that's why I tell patients, don't wait until you've had a fall or until you feel old. This test is about predicting risk before it turns into reality.
All right, Dr. Harper, I think we've hooked them. After the break, can you walk us through exactly how to do this test safely at home, what the numbers mean, and most importantly, what to do if your score isn't where you want it?
Absolutely. And I'll also share a case study of a 74-year-old woman who went from a failing score to a top score in just 10 weeks without ever stepping into a gym.
All right, Dr. Harper, you promised us the how-to for this 1-minute test, and I know some of our listeners are already halfway to their chairs.
Yes, but before you start, we need to talk safety. That's the first rule. I tell patients, choose a sturdy chair, place it against a wall so it doesn't slide, and make sure the floor isn't slippery. If you've had balance issues, have someone nearby, just in case.
Right, this isn't about pushing to the point of injury, it's about getting a real picture of where you're at today.
Exactly. Once you're ready, sit all the way back, feet flat on the floor, arms crossed over your chest. When you start, stand up fully, then sit down until your backside touches the chair without letting your arms help. Count each full stand as one rep and keep going for 60 seconds.
And try not to watch the clock every 10 seconds like I did.
Yes, the minute feels longer than you think. When the time's up, jot down your number. Now, here's what it means. If you can do 12 to 15 reps or more, you're in a healthy range for your age. Under 10 reps, that's a red flag. Under 8, that's when I want you talking to your doctor and starting a targeted strengthening program immediately.
Dr. Harper, I can almost hear some listeners saying, well, I'm 78. I shouldn't expect to be in that top range. But is that giving ourselves too much permission to decline?
It is. The truth is, age alone isn't the limiter. It's disuse. I've had patients in their late 70s and even early 80s hitting 18 to 20 reps after training. The body responds at any age. And research backs this up. A 2019 Journal of Gerontology study showed older adults who added just 3 short leg strengthening sessions a week improved their sit-to-stand performance by up to 40% in 2 months.
That's huge. And I think hearing numbers like that makes it feel possible, not like you're fighting a losing battle.
Absolutely. And here's where the story I mentioned comes in. I had a patient, let's call her Margaret, who at 74 could only do 6 reps. She'd never been much into exercise and had started avoiding stairs because they made her legs burn. She was afraid it was just age.
Oh, I can relate to that mindset. You feel a little weaker and you start shrinking your world to avoid discomfort.
Exactly. And that shrinking leads to faster decline. But we set her up with a simple home program. Chair stands twice a day, light resistance bands, and short hallway walks. 10 weeks later, she scored 17 reps. And she told me something that really stuck. She said, "I feel like I got my life back."
That's powerful. And that's not just legs, that's confidence, independence, the ability to say yes to things again.
Yes, and confidence reduces fall risk as much as strength does. There's even research on this. 2021 data in Geriatrics and Gerontology International found that seniors who felt more confident in their mobility fell 30% less often, even if their physical scores were the same.
Okay. So let's say someone does this test today, gets a lower score than they hoped, and they're sitting there thinking, now what? Where do they even start?
Start small. If you scored under 10, I recommend doing 3 sets of sit-to-stands a day, morning, afternoon, and evening. Don't max yourself out each time. Do half of what your 1-minute test score was so it's manageable. Gradually, you'll build capacity. Add in heel raises for calf strength and step-ups onto a low platform if safe.
And I think it's important to say, this isn't about chasing a number just to pass a test. This is about what that number represents for your future.
Exactly. It's about being able to get out of a chair without help, climb stairs without resting halfway, carry groceries without feeling like you're going to collapse. Those are the things that keep people independent, and independence is one of the strongest predictors of long-term well-being.
Dr. Harper, you've mentioned before that leg strength also plays into recovery after illness. Can you explain that? I think that connection gets overlooked.
It does. After any serious illness, pneumonia, surgery, even a bad flu, your body relies heavily on your leg muscles to help circulate blood, maintain metabolism, and get you moving again. People with strong legs recover faster, have fewer complications, and are less likely to end up in long-term care. A 2020 study in clinical rehabilitation found that leg strength was one of the top 3 factors predicting whether older adults return to independent living after hospitalization.
So the strength we build now could literally decide the outcome of a hospital stay years from now?
Yes. And here's something else most people don't realize. Muscle loss starts decades before you notice it. By the time you feel weaker, you may have already lost 20 to 30% of your muscle fibers. That's why waiting until you feel old is too late.
That's the wake-up call right there.
It is. And the good news is, every rep you do is a vote for your future self. You're literally building more years where you can live on your own terms.
Okay. I think we've lit a fire under our listeners, but I know you well enough to know you've got something else up your sleeve. Earlier, you hinted that the test can also flag early brain changes. I think we need to go there because that's a layer of urgency people aren't expecting.
Yes. In Part 3, I'll explain how this test connects to cognitive health, the subtle brain-to-body signals it reveals, and how improving your score could protect not just your mobility, but your memory.
All right, Dr. Harper, you've got us hanging here. We've been talking about leg strength as a predictor of longevity, but now you're telling me it might also be a window into brain health?
That's right. Most people think of muscle and brain as 2 separate systems, but they're more connected than we realize. The ability to stand up, sit down, and keep your balance in that 1-minute test is a complex conversation between your brain, spinal cord, and muscles. If any part of that conversation is breaking down, we can see it in your score, sometimes years before you notice memory problems.
So it's not just about muscle strength, it's about the wiring that tells your muscles what to do.
Exactly. The medical term is neuromuscular integration. When you stand from a chair, your brain has to calculate weight distribution, coordinate dozens of muscle groups, and keep your posture stable all in a split second. If your balance is off, your reaction time slows, or your movement feels unsteady, that can be an early clue your central nervous system is under strain.
That's unsettling. Because I think most of us assume we'd feel something if our brain was starting to change.
And often you don't. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience followed older adults for 6 years and found that those with slower sit-to-stand times were significantly more likely to show measurable declines in memory and processing speed later, even when they felt perfectly fine at the start. The body was whispering before the brain shouted.
So the 1-minute test could be the whisper we need to listen to.
Yes. And the beauty of it is, it's not just diagnostic, it's also prescriptive. When you work on improving your leg strength, you're also improving blood flow to the brain, strengthening neural pathways, and challenging your coordination. All of those things are protective for cognitive health.
Let me ask you this, because I know some people will think, well, I walk every day, so I'm covered. Does regular walking give the same brain benefits as improving your sit-to-stand score?
Walking is wonderful for general health, but it doesn't fully replace the kind of muscular load and neurological demand you get from strength work. Walking is mostly repetitive, low-intensity movement. The sit-to-stand, especially if you work toward higher reps, forces your brain and muscles to coordinate under resistance, which is exactly the type of challenge that keeps neural circuits sharp.
I love that this little test doubles as a brain workout.
It does, and that's why I push patients to take it seriously. You're not just training for stronger legs, you're training for a more resilient brain. And we have solid data to back that up. A 2020 meta-analysis in The Lancet Neurology concluded that physical strength, particularly lower body strength, is one of the most modifiable risk factors for dementia.
I think that's a message worth repeating. Strength is modifiable. You can change it. And by changing it, you might be protecting your future self in ways you can't even measure right now.
Exactly. I like to tell patients the work you do today could give you extra years of independence later. Years where you still remember your grandkids' names, still drive to your favorite places, still live in your own home.
That hits home because it's really not about the number on the test. It's about the life behind that number.
Well said. And remember, improvement doesn't require extreme measures. You don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment. Consistency beats intensity every time. 2 to 3 focused leg strength sessions a week, steady progress, and you'll see results.
And for anyone listening who feels discouraged, maybe they tried the test today and it was harder than they expected, what's your message?
Start where you are. Don't judge yourself by where you think you should be. Every extra rep is a win. Track your progress, celebrate small gains, and remember, you're building not just strength, but resilience.
I love that. And I love that this conversation started with something so simple, a chair, a clock, and 1 minute, and turned into this bigger reminder that our future health is in our hands.
That's the power of knowing the right tests to use. You can catch decline early, make changes now, and change the trajectory of your life.
All right, friends. Here's your homework before the day's over. Find that sturdy chair, cross your arms, set a timer for 60 seconds, and see where you stand, literally. And if your number's not where you want it to be, remember what Dr. Harper said. It's not a verdict, it's a starting point. Next week, we're tackling a silent threat that affects nearly half of all seniors, and most don't even know they have it until it's too late. You'll want to hear this one.
Trust me, you don't want to miss it.